Catalyst, Naruto Uzumaki. The humid air hung heavy in the forest of death, a stark contrast to the icy dread that gripped Hinata's heart. Her Byakugan, usually a source of unwavering clarity, was blurred by pain, a searing agony that pulsed behind her left eye. Crimson blossomed across her cheek, staining her usually pristine white attire. The enemy, a rogue ninja wielding a cursed blade, had been relentless, its attacks impossibly fast, leaving Hinata disoriented and defenseless. She'd managed to shield her teammates, Niji and Kiba, from the worst of the assault, but the price had been steep. Niji, ever stoic, knelt beside her, his own Byakugan assessing the damage with clinical precision. His usually composed face was etched with worry, a stark deviation from his usual reserved demeanor. "Hinata," he murmured, his voice a low rumble of concern. His fingers gently brushed against the wound, eliciting a sharp gasp from Hinata. The pain was not just physical, a deep, gnawing fear coiled in her stomach. The loss of her eye, the very instrument of her strength, felt like a part of herself had been ripped away. Kiba, usually boisterous and energetic, stood rigidly, his usual playful demeanor replaced with grim silence. Akamaru, whimpering softly, rested his head on Kiba's lap, sensing his master's distress. The normally vibrant forest seemed to darken around them, mirroring the despair that settled over the three remaining members of their genin team. The air thrummed with the lingering energy of the battle, a tangible testament to the ferocity of the encounter. The ground was littered with broken branches and leaves, scattered remnants of the furious clash. Hinata could still feel the phantom sting of the cursed blade, a lingering reminder of her near-death experience. The silence stretched, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the frantic beating of Hinata's heart. Fear wasn't merely a feeling, it was a cold, physical presence, constricting her chest, stealing her breath. She struggled to swallow, her throat tight with unshed tears. The image of the cursed blade, its dark energy swirling around it, was seared into her mind, a haunting visual of her failure to fully protect her team. She had failed. The thought weighed heavily on her, a crushing burden of guilt. Niji began to apply pressure to the wound, his movements precise and efficient, but his touch remained gentle, a silent expression of his concern. Kiba, however, remained frozen, the weight of his helplessness evident in his rigidly set jaw. His silent grief was a stark contrast to his usual vocalizations, highlighting the gravity of the situation. Akamaru whined again, nudging Kiba's hand with his nose, as if trying to offer some comfort. The air was thick with unspoken emotions. The unspoken questions hung between them, heavy and suffocating. What if she didn't make it? What would happen to their team? How could they continue without their teammate? Suddenly, a figure burst through the trees, a whirlwind of youthful energy cutting through the somber atmosphere. Naruto Uzumaki, his bright orange jumpsuit a jarring splash of color against the subdued greens and browns of the forest, ran towards them, his face a mask of frantic concern. His normally boisterous energy was replaced by a quiet intensity, his eyes wide with worry as he scanned Hinata's pale face. The usually playful glint in his eyes was dimmed, replaced by a raw, desperate determination. He dropped to his knees beside Hinata, his hands instinctively reaching for her, his worry palpable. "Hinata!" he exclaimed, his voice thick with emotion. His usually unruly blonde hair was damp with sweat, and his breathing was ragged from his hasty sprint. His chakra signature, usually a vibrant and energetic presence, now seemed muted, a reflection of his deep concern. The usually exuberant Naruto seemed subdued, humbled by the severity of the situation. The sight of his usually spirited friend, now pale and wounded, had shaken him to his core. He assessed her injuries with a novice's apprehension. His understanding of medical ninjutsu was rudimentary, but the depth of his emotional response was undeniable. Naruto's concern wasn't simply that of a teammate, it was a raw, visceral protectiveness that stemmed from a profound affection and respect for Hinata. The intensity of his feelings amplified the gravity of the situation, casting a palpable layer of tension over the already strained atmosphere. His normally boisterous spirit was subdued, replaced by a determination fueled by fierce loyalty and heartfelt concern. Naruto's gaze, usually brimming with confidence, held a flicker of fear. The sight of Hinata's injury, the stark reality of her potential demise, had shaken his core. He felt the weight of responsibility, the crushing pressure of being unable to protect his comrade, a feeling that ignited a desperate fire within him. This fear, however, didn't cripple him. Instead, it fueled his relentless search for a solution. It was a defining moment, pushing him beyond his limits, beyond his training, and into uncharted territory. The usually jovial expression was erased from his face. The seriousness of the situation had sunk in and replaced the usual, more immature expression with one of intense concentration and worry. His bright orange clothes, usually a vibrant symbol of his personality, seemed to dull slightly, as if the weight of the situation was drawing the very color from them. He was not just a genin on a mission, he was a friend, terrified of losing someone precious to him. In this somber silence, the forest held its breath. The weight of the moment pressed down upon them, a heavy cloak of unspoken fear and desperate hope. The future seemed uncertain, shrouded in the shadows of the forest, but within Naruto's heart, a single flame of defiance burned brightly, fueled by his unwavering determination to save his friend. The flickering candle of hope in the darkness of the forest of death was his unyielding resolve to find a solution, a desperate hope in the face of overwhelming odds. This was just the beginning of a journey that would redefine not only his destiny, but the destiny of the entire shinobi world. The cost of this journey, however, was yet to be fully understood. Naruto's hands trembled, not from fear, but from the sheer intensity of his focus. He'd always known his regenerative abilities were extraordinary. The Uzumaki clan's famed vitality was legendary, but this was different. This went beyond simple healing. He stared at Hinata's injured eye socket, the raw wound a stark reminder of the brutal attack. He could feel the faint pulse of her life force, a delicate thread clinging desperately to existence. It was then, in the heart of the shadowed forest, that a flicker of understanding ignited within him. It wasn't just about healing, it was about recreation. He closed his eyes, drawing deeply on his chakra reserves. His blonde hair seemed to shimmer with the exertion, the air around him crackling with raw energy. It wasn't the explosive, uncontrolled surge of his usual chakra blasts. This was different, precise, almost surgical in its meticulousness. He felt a strange connection to his own cells, a deep, intimate understanding of their structure and function. He visualized Hinata's healthy eye, its intricate network of capillaries and nerves, the delicate structure of the Byakugan itself. It wasn't merely a visual image, it was a blueprint, etched into his very being. He could feel the subtle shift in his chakra, its nature changing, morphing from its usual volatile state into something far more refined, far more controlled. It felt like a symphony of cellular activity, a complex dance of creation and destruction, all orchestrated by the sheer force of his will. This wasn't the reckless, impulsive energy he usually relied on in combat. This was precise, surgical, almost scientific. His fingers, guided by an unseen force, began to trace the outline of Hinata's eye socket. He wasn't simply touching her skin, he was interacting with the very fabric of her being, sensing the subtle imbalances caused by the injury. His chakra pulsed, a gentle rhythm that resonated with the damaged tissue, stimulating cellular growth and regeneration. He could feel this cellular-level repair in progress. The process felt unnervingly intimate, like he was sculpting life itself from the raw materials of his own being. The process wasn't instantaneous. It was a slow, painstaking dance between destruction and creation, a delicate balance that required an almost inhuman level of concentration. Sweat beaded on his forehead, his breathing ragged, but he didn't falter. He needed to be perfect. One wrong move, one misplaced pulse of chakra, and he could inflict irreparable damage. He could feel his own cells responding, mimicking the structure of Hinata's missing eye. It felt strange, like he was giving a part of himself, a piece of his very essence, to heal her. It wasn't a simple transfer of energy, it was a replication, a painstaking reconstruction of complex biological structures on a cellular level. He felt a surge of exhaustion, a wave of weariness that threatened to overwhelm him. His chakra reserves were dwindling, but he pushed on, his determination unwavering. He had to succeed. He couldn't fail Hinata. This wasn't just about healing an injury, it was about saving a life that was precious to him. The air grew thick with the concentrated energy, the forest silent except for Naruto's shallow breaths and the rustling of leaves stirred by the gentle breeze. He was pushing himself to the very edge of his limits, exploring the boundaries of his power in a way he'd never even imagined. It was both exhilarating and terrifying. This felt like he was engaging in a forbidden jutsu, pushing beyond the established norms and rules of the shinobi world. Slowly, miraculously, the eye socket began to fill. Not with scar tissue, but with the precise reconstruction of a new Byakugan. The eye, initially milky white, slowly gained clarity, the distinctive Byakugan pattern emerging, vibrant and strong. This wasn't just a simple healing, it was a feat of cellular engineering, a testament to the incredible potential of his bloodline limit. It was a medical miracle performed in the heart of a deathly forest. The process consumed him entirely. Time seemed to warp, his senses sharpened, his perception refined to an almost superhuman level. He could feel the intricate dance of cells, the interplay of chakra and biology, a symphony of creation played out on the microscopic stage. The process had a strange mixture of both raw power and surgical precision that made him both excited and fearful. As the new eye fully formed, Naruto felt a wave of exhaustion wash over him, leaving him weak and trembling. He had pushed himself to the absolute limit, his chakra reserves almost completely depleted. He slumped against the ground, his breathing heavy, his body drenched in sweat, but he felt a profound sense of accomplishment. He had done it. He had saved Hinata. He opened his eyes, his own gaze now clear, reflecting the success of his unorthodox procedure. Hinata's newly formed Byakugan shimmered with a faint, ethereal glow, infused with the vitality of his own chakra. It held a strange combination of Hinata's inherent power and his own unique energy signature, a powerful testament to his revolutionary healing. Hinata stirred, her eyelids fluttering open. Her gaze, sharp and clear, fixed upon Naruto. A soft gasp escaped her lips, a mixture of surprise and relief washing over her face. The pain was gone, replaced by a sense of wonder and gratitude that transcended words. She blinked, her newly regenerated Byakugan scanning the surrounding area, taking in the details with a renewed clarity. She could see everything with startling sharpness, the intricate veins on the leaves, the subtle movements of insects in the undergrowth, the slight change in the color of Naruto's sweat-soaked skin. The power she had lost had returned, amplified by a foreign, yet familiar energy signature. Naruto, weak but elated, offered a faint smile. "You're okay," he whispered, his voice barely audible. His heart swelled with pride and relief. His breakthrough wasn't just a triumph over death, but a validation of his own innate potential. It was a testament to his tenacity and an exploration of his unknown powers. The silence that followed was a testament to the weight of the experience. The weight of the near-death encounter had settled heavily over the three friends, but the newfound sense of hope and possibility shone more brightly than the fading sunlight filtering through the trees. The air around them was charged with the lingering energy of the ordeal, a blend of exhaustion and elation. Niji and Kiba, initially stunned by the sudden transformation, approached cautiously, their expressions a mixture of awe and apprehension. The silence was punctuated by the soft rustling of leaves and the deep breaths that Naruto took to regain his composure. He felt a deep, seated satisfaction in what he had achieved, but also a rising unease. This power, this ability to replicate and transplant body parts, held a terrifying potential. It was a gift, yes, but also a dangerous burden. A responsibility that was heavy on his young shoulders. The weight of his newfound power settled upon Naruto's shoulders like a lead cloak. He had saved Hinata, but at what cost? What were the long-term implications of his actions? Could he truly control this power, or would it one day consume him? The questions whirled in his mind, a stark contrast to the euphoria of his success. The forest, once a place of death and despair, now felt charged with the energy of his groundbreaking achievement, and yet a heavy unease settled upon his heart. He had crossed a line, ventured into uncharted territories of his own abilities, and a great deal of responsibility suddenly fell upon his young shoulders. The thrill of success was slowly being eclipsed by the daunting realization of his newfound responsibilities and the untold consequences that lay ahead. This was not merely a medical breakthrough, but the dawn of a new era in the shinobi world, a dawn that might bring either salvation or destruction. The weight of that reality threatened to crush him. The forest, silent witness to his triumph, was also a chilling reminder of the cost of his newfound power and the uncertainty of the future. The humming of Naruto's chakra intensified, a low thrum that vibrated through the forest floor. It wasn't the explosive roar of a Rasengan, but a delicate, almost musical resonance, a testament to the surgical precision required for his unprecedented feat. Each pulse of energy was carefully calibrated, a measured response to the needs of Hinata's damaged cells. He wasn't just healing, he was meticulously reconstructing, rebuilding from the ground up, cell by painstaking cell. Sweat plastered his hair to his forehead, clinging to his skin like a second layer. His breath came in ragged gasps, each inhale a desperate attempt to replenish his dwindling chakra reserves. He could feel the drain, a constant, gnawing emptiness that threatened to halt his progress. Yet he pressed on, driven by an unwavering determination and the deep concern he felt for his friend. The process wasn't visually spectacular. There were no fiery explosions or blinding flashes of light. Instead, it was a subtle dance of energy, a microscopic ballet performed within the confines of Hinata's eye socket. He could feel the cellular response, the chaotic dance of damaged tissue slowly yielding to the ordered precision of his chakra. It was a slow, arduous process, fraught with the potential for catastrophic failure. He could almost feel the individual cells responding to his will, rearranging themselves, forming the intricate network of capillaries and nerves that constituted the Byakugan. It felt as though he was sculpting life itself, shaping and molding the raw materials of his own chakra into a perfect replica of Hinata's missing eye. The experience was deeply intimate, a profound connection that transcended the usual boundaries of medical practice. It was a fusion of his own being with Hinata's, a shared dance of cellular regeneration. He focused on the Byakugan's intricate structure, visualizing its distinctive pattern, its unique arrangement of specialized cells. It wasn't simply a matter of restoring tissue. He needed to replicate the complex optical system, the unique energy pathways that powered the Byakugan's heightened perception. Each nerve, each capillary, each specialized cell had to be placed with perfect precision, a feat of microscopic engineering that pushed his abilities to their absolute limit. Hours bled into one another, the forest growing darker as twilight descended. The rhythmic pulse of Naruto's chakra was the only sound that broke the silence, a constant hum that seemed to echo the intensity of his concentration. His body ached, his muscles screamed in protest, and his vision blurred with exhaustion, but his resolve remained unbroken. He couldn't stop. He wouldn't stop. He had to save Hinata. As the new eye took shape, a faint white glow emanated from the eye socket, a luminous beacon in the growing darkness. The Byakugan's distinctive pattern slowly emerged, intricate and mesmerizing. It wasn't a perfect copy, there was a subtle difference, a faint trace of Naruto's own Uzumaki chakra woven into the very fabric of the new eye. A faint, golden hue shimmered beneath the milky white, a silent testament to the extraordinary nature of the transplant. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the process was complete. Naruto slumped against the tree, his body racked with exhaustion, his chakra reserves completely depleted. He was trembling, his limbs heavy, his breathing ragged, but a profound sense of relief washed over him. He had done it. He had saved Hinata. He watched as Hinata stirred, her eyelids fluttering open. Her gaze, initially clouded by pain, slowly sharpened, the new Byakugan focusing on the world with newfound clarity. A soft gasp escaped her lips, a mixture of wonder and gratitude that resonated with the deep bond of friendship that connected them. She examined her own hand in detail, seeing the fine hair and small imperfections in her skin that were invisible before. The level of detail was extraordinary. The power of the Byakugan, amplified by Naruto's chakra, was far beyond her expectations. Her recovery, however, wasn't instantaneous. The initial relief was followed by a wave of intense pain, a lingering consequence of the severe injury and the radical nature of the transplant. The pain was a constant, throbbing ache, a stark reminder of the trauma her body had endured. Naruto remained by her side, providing comfort and support, his own exhaustion momentarily forgotten in his concern for her well-being. He held her hand, his touch both comforting and charged with the residual energy of the transplant, his own chakra gently working to soothe the lingering discomfort. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Hinata's recovery was a slow, arduous process, marked by moments of intense pain and periods of relative calm. Naruto remained her steadfast companion, providing support, both physical and emotional. He learned about the subtleties of pain management through practical application and learned to adjust the chakra flow subtly to aid her recovery, carefully balancing the need to soothe the pain with the need to stimulate healing. This was an experience that took him beyond the battlefield and into a new understanding of his power and its application. The physical manifestations of his own abilities were one thing. The medical application of his power required a new and more thoughtful application that exceeded even his own skill as a shinobi. The ability to heal was a power that exceeded his abilities as a warrior. He learned to utilize his chakra in new ways, weaving it into gentle streams that soothed the inflamed tissues, promoting healing and reducing pain. He became a physician by necessity, combining his innate abilities with an intuitive understanding of the human body's intricate workings. This new role provided him a sense of purpose far beyond the battlefield. The process was not without its complications. Hinata's body reacted differently to the transplanted eye, the fusion of Uzumaki and Hyuga chakra creating an unexpected synergy. It was a remarkable and unpredictable result, enhancing the Byakugan's power beyond its original capabilities, but also introducing new complexities that required careful monitoring and adjustment. The healing process was not simply a matter of biological repair, it was a delicate dance of chakra manipulation, a precise orchestration of energy flows that required constant monitoring and careful adjustment. Through it all, Naruto's unwavering determination never wavered. He meticulously tracked Hinata's progress, adjusting his treatment to suit her changing needs. He was both healer and student, learning as he went, pushing the boundaries of his own abilities while navigating the complex interplay of chakra and biology. This experience brought him closer to Hinata than he had ever been before. A bond forged not only through friendship, but through the shared intimacy of this radical procedure. He saw a vulnerability in her that he had never witnessed before, and he cherished that vulnerability. The shared experience brought them closer. His journey of mastering his ability extended far beyond the initial transplantation. It had evolved into a profound and ongoing exploration of his powers and potential, a journey of healing, discovery, and profound responsibility. The journey had begun in the darkness of the forest of death, but it continued to challenge him beyond his wildest expectations. The path ahead was unclear, but he was determined to continue on his path. The world swam into focus, sharper, clearer than Hinata had ever known. It wasn't just a restoration, it was an augmentation. The familiar world exploded with detail, each leaf on the forest floor distinct, each grain of sand individually discernible. The faintest tremors in the earth, previously imperceptible, now vibrated through her feet, a symphony of subtle movements. The colors were more vibrant. The air itself seemed to thrum with unseen energy. It was an overwhelming sensory experience, a deluge of information that initially threatened to overwhelm her. Her enhanced Byakugan, infused with Naruto's Uzumaki chakra, was far more than a simple replacement. It was an evolution. The familiar, milky white of the Hyuga Byakugan was now touched with a subtle, golden luminescence, a shimmering halo that seemed to radiate a soft, inner light. This subtle alteration wasn't just cosmetic, it hinted at the underlying changes in its functionality. She could see the flow of chakra within her own body, a delicate dance of energy that she could manipulate with newfound precision. She could perceive the subtle shifts in the air currents, the minute vibrations of the leaves, and the faintest traces of emotions in those around her. The range of her vision had expanded dramatically, allowing her to perceive objects and individuals from a significantly greater distance. What was once a limited scope had now broadened into a panoramic view, capable of encompassing vast expanses of the forest. The initial sensory overload gradually subsided as her brain adapted to the influx of information. She began to filter the overwhelming data, focusing on specific details, honing her ability to discriminate and analyze the information pouring into her enhanced eyes. It was as though she'd been gifted a new sense, a sixth sense that enhanced her already formidable Byakugan capabilities. She could see the intricate network of capillaries beneath her skin, the subtle rhythm of her heartbeat, the constant flow of chakra within her body. The details were astonishing. She could see the individual strands of grass, the texture of the bark on the trees, the minute variations in the color of the leaves. She could see the flow of water underground, the faintest shifts in the Earth's magnetic field, and even the subtle fluctuations in the atmospheric pressure. It was a world of unparalleled clarity, a universe of detail unseen by ordinary eyes. The enhanced Byakugan also seemed to enhance her ability to sense chakra. She could now detect the faintest traces of chakra signatures, even at a considerable distance. The flow of chakra around her became readily apparent, showing her a tapestry of energy currents that flowed throughout the forest and connected everything within it. She could pinpoint the location of other beings with remarkable precision, sensing their chakra signatures with an uncanny accuracy. This newfound sensory capability added a new dimension to her combat skills, a previously unimaginable edge that provided her with a tactical advantage. However, the enhancement wasn't without its challenges. The intensified visual acuity brought with it a heightened sensitivity to light and movement. Bright sunlight could be almost blinding, and sudden movements could cause a momentary disorientation. It was a new world of sensory input, demanding a recalibration of her perception and an adaptation to its inherent complexities. She carefully examined her surroundings, her new Byakugan sweeping across the forest floor. She could see the intricate root systems of the trees, the tunnels burrowed by animals, and the subtle disturbances in the soil caused by unseen creatures. She was aware of everything around her. Her enhanced vision was no longer just a means of seeing, but a way of understanding. The enhanced Byakugan also seemed to have a direct impact on her taijutsu. Her movements became more fluid, more precise, as if her enhanced vision gave her a perfect understanding of her body's capabilities. She could sense the flow of chakra within her opponents, anticipate their movements, and react with a speed and precision that exceeded her previous abilities. Her movements had a greater sense of grace and precision, each strike infused with an enhanced understanding of her own physiology and the enemy's vulnerabilities. Naruto watched from beside her, observing her adaptation to her new vision. A faint smile played on his lips as he saw her slowly mastering the power of her enhanced Byakugan. He was both relieved and proud, knowing that he'd not only saved her life, but had inadvertently unleashed a potential within her that was far greater than he could have ever imagined. The fusion of Uzumaki and Hyuga chakra had created something unique, something extraordinary. He saw in her eyes not just a new level of visual acuity, but a new level of self-awareness. She was more confident, more grounded in her own abilities. The enhanced Byakugan had not only given her a sharper vision of the world around her, but a clearer perception of herself. It was a transformative experience, a rebirth that had reshaped her understanding of her own potential. The implications were profound, reaching far beyond the simple restoration of her sight. It was an awakening. Hinata's recovery continued, but now it was a journey of exploration and mastery, a path of discovery that would lead her to previously unimaginable heights. The enhanced Byakugan was more than a gift, it was a challenge, a testament to the profound bond she shared with Naruto, and a harbinger of a new chapter in her life. The transformation was complete, and a new journey had just begun. A journey into a world seen with an unparalleled clarity and understanding. a world that was now hers to explore, a world that would never be the same. The enhanced Byakugan was more than a physical enhancement, it was a transformation of the very essence of her being, a revelation that would reshape her destiny in ways she could only begin to imagine. The journey had just begun. The whispers started subtly, like the rustling of leaves in a hidden grove. A hushed conversation here, a furtive glance there. The recovery of Hinata Hyuga, the miracle of her restored Byakugan enhanced, even augmented, was no longer a private matter. It was the talk of the Leaf Village, a topic simmering beneath the surface of daily life, bubbling up into anxious speculation and hushed awe. The elders, usually stoic and reserved, exchanged worried glances across the council chambers. The usually boisterous genin training grounds were strangely subdued, punctuated by the occasional awestruck murmur. The initial shock had given way to a wave of intense curiosity. Naruto Uzumaki, the boisterous, energetic Jinchuriki, had performed a feat considered impossible, not merely healing, but enhancing, transcending the limitations of medical ninjutsu. He hadn't just fixed Hinata's, he had forged something new, a fusion of Hyuga precision and Uzumaki vitality. The implications were staggering. Imagine the possibilities, the potential for revolutionizing medical ninjutsu, for creating shinobi far surpassing the capabilities of any seen before. But alongside this hope, a cold dread took root. The whispers weren't just those of wonder. Fear slithered alongside admiration, winding its icy tendrils into the hearts of the less optimistic. What if this power fell into the wrong hands? What if Naruto's ability, this miraculous gift, was twisted into a weapon of unimaginable destruction? The thought sent chills down the spines of many within the village, echoing the ancient anxieties of the shinobi world, the ever-present threat of power abused, of strength misdirected. The Hokage, Tsunade, was faced with an unprecedented dilemma. Naruto's accomplishment was a monumental achievement, a testament to his potential and the resilience of the human spirit. Yet it was also a dangerous secret, a potentially destabilizing force that could disrupt the delicate balance of power within the village and beyond. She walked the corridors of her office, the weight of the world heavy on her shoulders, pondering the delicate balance between protecting Naruto and safeguarding the village. The whispers reached the ears of those who operated in the shadows, those who saw in Naruto's ability not a medical marvel, but a potential source of immeasurable power. Individuals with hidden agendas and dangerous ambitions began to circle, their eyes fixated on the young shinobi who had inadvertently ignited a storm. The implications were vast, stretching far beyond the confines of the Leaf Village. Other villages, always watchful, always competitive, heard the whispers as well. The prospect of a shinobi capable of such profound healing, or indeed such devastating augmentation, was a game-changer. Among these shadowed figures, Sasuke Uchiha's name circulated frequently. Having lived through the trauma of his clan's massacre, his ambition had grown to monstrous proportions, fueled by a burning desire for vengeance and a twisted sense of justice. The possibility of controlling or even stealing Naruto's power held an immense allure, a means of achieving his goals and settling scores. The whispers around his name were ominous, laced with a dark energy that spoke of schemes unfolding in the hidden corners of the shinobi world. Even Kakashi Hatake, the stoic, perceptive jonin, felt the weight of this new reality. Naruto was his student, a young man he'd trained and nurtured. He knew the depth of Naruto's compassion, his unwavering loyalty to his friends, his inherent desire to do good. Yet, he also understood the dangers inherent in unchecked power. The whispers of exploitation were not idle fantasy, and he knew that Naruto's incredible abilities made him a tempting target. He had a responsibility to protect his student, but also to ensure the safety of the village. The whispers extended beyond the individual ambitions of specific shinobi. They also reached into the upper echelons of power, resonating in the hallowed halls of the Umbu and within the secretive councils of the various ninja clans. Strategies were being drawn, contingency plans formed. The delicate balance of power, already fragile, threatened to shatter under the weight of Naruto's newfound capabilities. The previously stable political landscape was now shifting, the tectonic plates of power grinding against each other. Alliances were being tested, loyalties questioned, and old rivalries rekindled. The whispers of change were not simply rumors, they were harbingers of a new era, an era defined by Naruto's unparalleled power and the desperate scramble for control. The increased scrutiny Naruto faced wasn't just limited to those with malicious intent. Even his closest allies felt a pang of unease. Sakura Haruno, despite her unwavering support, couldn't help but feel a sense of apprehension. Naruto's transformation wasn't just a leap in physical ability, it had irrevocably changed him. The weight of his power, the responsibility it brought, was palpable in his very presence. The usual carefree energy that permeated Naruto was now tempered by a serious undercurrent. The jovial grin that always graced his features now often held a subtle frown, a sign of the internal struggle he was enduring. He bore the weight of his responsibility with the seriousness of a seasoned veteran, though he was still just a young man. He understood that his abilities were a double-edged sword. The same power capable of miraculous healing held the potential for immense destruction. Even his bond with Sasuke was strained. While a fierce loyalty still existed, the gulf of conflicting ideologies was deepening. Sasuke's pursuit of power was a dark mirror to Naruto's, a chilling reflection of the path his friend could have taken. The whispers of Sasuke's intentions had reached Naruto, adding yet another layer of stress and concern to his already heavy burden. Could his friendship endure the strain? Could he prevent Sasuke from resorting to the dark side? The increased attention and scrutiny had begun to take its toll on Naruto. The constant vigilance, the weight of expectation, the fear of his abilities falling into the wrong hands, it was a burden that weighed heavily on his youthful shoulders. He found himself increasingly isolated, spending more time alone, practicing his control over his ability, trying to find a balance between harnessing its power and containing its potential for destruction. The whispers of change were growing louder, intensifying, merging into a low, ominous hum that resonated throughout the Leaf Village and beyond. The quiet peace had shattered, replaced by a sense of foreboding uncertainty. The world was changing, and at the center of it all stood Naruto Uzumaki, the boy who wielded a power that held the potential to reshape the very destiny of the shinobi world. His journey had just begun, and the path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, a dangerous and treacherous road that would test his limits in ways he could only begin to imagine. The whispers continued, a constant reminder of the power he possessed and the weight of the responsibility that rested upon his shoulders. The future was uncertain, a looming storm gathering on the horizon. The storm of change, fueled by Naruto's gift and the desperate machinations of those seeking to control it.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. There is also a link in the description to my Patreon. It has Naruto fanfiction that cannot be posted on YouTube. There is some free content on there. So, you don't have to be a paying member to enjoy listening to excellent fanfiction.